Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon, a retired NYPD detective with 20 years of law enforcement. And if you like all things true crime related from a police perspective, along with a bunch of fantastic guests that we have from the criminal justice field, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you will get all things DutyRon when I go live or upload another video. Guys, tonight I come to you quickly before I get into the topic. I want to say a special thank you to my Patreon supporters, the channel members, all of the folks who subscribe and interact in a positive way for all victims of crime and their families, and all of the community support that we get through crowdsourcing, through funding of victims and families, through funding of digital billboards and reward money. You guys are what makes this community great. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. The moderators and the replay viewers, you are fantastic as well. The people who leave comments down below, I can't thank you enough. But tonight I'm joined by a special guest. He is he's no slouch, and he's not somebody who you guys don't know. I have criminal defense attorney Joe Murray joining in, who is a retired New York City police officer and also a fantastic attorney. Joe Murray, thank you so much for joining in on this live stream. I appreciate you being here, brother.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. I love what you do, that you're so victim focused to support victims, particularly in these times where the focus is on the defendant and providing and restoring rights and treatment for defendants. People are starting to lose sight of who really is the important people here, the victims. So as a criminal defense attorney, I'm more than happy to acknowledge that we are, it's a delicate balance, and that's what the Constitution provides. And I love what you're doing, and I support it 100%.
Thank you for that, Joe. And again, tonight, the reason we are live is we're talking about Chris Watts. He is a savage beast who took the life of his wife, his two children, and his unborn son in 2018. To be exact, August 13th of 2018. Now, in a few short weeks, we will be coming up on the 3-year anniversary of, and I don't even like to call it an anniversary, so let me retract that, on the 3-year marker of this heinous crime that was committed not only against the victims, but the family, the extended family, the Ruseks, the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, and everybody on that side. And we talk about this all the time. It's about respect for the families that are left behind. Now, here we are 2 years in, coming into 3, and people are still speaking about this case. They're still disrespecting the family. They're talking in less than in a good way. And for me, I got to tell you, it is it's such a shocking thing to hear when people continue to talk about crime victims' families. I just got to say, from being a police detective, police officer, and dealing with families that have gone through tragedy, there's no lower thing that you could do. And at the end of the day, really, I have no patience for it. So when I get comments in my comment section, and I have people who talk to me and say, DutyRon, this is just ongoing. People just continue to talk about this case. He was sentenced in 2018, 5 life sentences. This is, to me, this is a closed case. It's over with. There's no room for conspiracy theories. There's no room for talking about other people being arrested, because if somebody was going to be arrested as a co-conspirator or anything like that, it already would have been a done deal. But what I want to do is to set up for my audience. I want you guys to listen to it's over 2 years, going on over 2 years, a plea that Frank Rzucek Sr. took a trip. Joe Murray and I had we looked at this, we reviewed it. He took a trip from North Carolina all the way to Colorado, out in front of his daughter's home. This took a lot of strength, emotionally, in the heart. He got on an airplane, he came out there, and he made a plea over 2 years ago. This was June of 2019. And I want to play this so the audience can see the the anguish, the the way Frank is being ripped apart emotionally here. And it took a lot for this man to come out and be a voice for his daughter. But this was 2 years ago. And now we're going to fast forward to today. So if you guys would take a moment to listen to this, and please, again, if you're in the chat, be respectful towards the family. They are watching.
Hello, I am Frank Rzucek. Last summer, on August 13th, 2018, my daughter Shannon Watts and her children were murdered. They were killed by Shannon's husband and the children's father, Chris Watts. I can't possibly describe how painful the last 11 months have been for myself, my wife, and my son, Frankie Jr., and for everyone else who cared so much about Shannon and her children. Just dealing with this type of tragedy is more than a family should bear. But I am making a statement today because for the past 11 months, piled on top of pain and the grieving of this devastating loss, our family has been subject to horribly, cruelly abused, outright bullying, and on a daily basis. I don't want to draw more attention to the viral material that has been posted online. And so I don't want to go into specifics, but I will say that our family, including Shannon and her children and our grandchildren, have been ridiculed, demeaned, slandered, mocked in the most vicious ways you can imagine. We have been subject to false accusations, fake Facebook accounts, hate speeches, and constant stream of ugly, evil insults and attacks. Every time we turn around, there is someone trying to capitalize on our tragedy. By spreading false rumors and outright lies about Shannon and our grandchildren, we have been subject to threats on our lives, all because we are victims in painful tragedy. This is so wrong. It is cruel, it is heartless, it is flat wrong. It breaks my heart to know that we are not the first family to have to live through this kind of tragedy, and we won't be the last. Families like ours should have the right to be safe and the right of a basic level of privacy, the right to mourn in peace. And it boils my blood that my family and other families are dealing with worse imaginable tragedy, have to deal with this kind of cruelty and bullying. It needs to stop. To Congress, or to any position in power, we are calling on you to do something to pass laws that will protect victims of unspeakable crimes from this kind of abuse. Our online social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we have contacted you many times, reported this abuse, but no avail. We are calling on you again to do the right thing, to take some responsibility for your platforms and stop this despicable conduct. To the people who feel they are entitled to profit off our loss, we urge you, please stop. And for the people who are interested in this case, who feel compelled to comment and discuss, please stick to the truth. It is painful enough for us to just dealing with the reality. Reading the insane conspiracy theories, ugly false rumors, and lies only make it more painful. Finally, to the people who have stood with us, who have supported us and prayed for us and our family, For Shannon and her grandchildren, we can't thank you enough. God bless you all, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Hey, Frank, quick question, and asked this respectfully, but was there any fear about coming forward because you're now giving these people that are saying this stuff even more for their platforms, if you will?
No.
Did you come here back to Colorado here today? I mean, for the sole purpose of doing this?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Why? Because I felt it needed to be done here at her house.
Because that's how bad it is.
Yes, it is.
I mean, are people, you know, it sounds like a lot of this is happening in the online space. I know you don't want to go too much into it, but people hide behind those names on the internet, and it sounds like that's what's kind of going on.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that's?
Basically, it's a nonstop thing. Everybody talking about things that were not done correctly, and keep pushing the issues. It's a lot of ugly out there. A lot of ugly.
I mean, how is your family? This should be your time to grieve. You went through the court process. This should be your time to, to grieve. And it sounds like you haven't even fully been able to do that very well because of everything else.
No, we haven't. It's not that we're looking at the stuff that's on YouTube's and Facebook, and it gets sent to us.
Have you had people contact you directly? Some of these things that are out there, have they contacted the family directly?
Not personally on our, live stuff, but on computer type, your phones and stuff.
Like Facebook messages, have they tried to contact you, some of these folks?
What would you tell those people? I mean, I know some of them might watch this or post this on the internet tonight. What would you tell them?
Like I've been telling them for the longest time, just stop. Please just stop. Get on with your lives. Leave ours alone. We can't grieve. It's just a nonstop thing. They know who they are. We have a lot of YouTubers out there that are, I'll mention YouTubers, and they are backing us. But there's a lot out there that are just terrible.
You mentioned lawmakers. I mean, is there something that you would hope they can do for legislation?
Well, I hope they can do something about these, this YouTube, Facebook, or Google, whoever is involved in the Twitters, and because it's not fair to these victims that are going through this. We don't deserve it.
And you're speaking on behalf of other people.
I'm speaking on behalf of other people that I've read already in there, and it's not fair to us.
What has been the response from, let's say, a Facebook when you said, please help us, and flag this? What's been the response?
Nothing.
It's been nearly a year now since this crime happened.
That's
is
correct.
this stopping your ability to, I know you can't move on, but to try and progress forward?
Yeah, because we hear it all the time. It's a ongoing thing. Like I said, there's a lot of people out there that are helping us, and they're pushing, and they're really, really pushing to get these people stopped. But it just seems as though YouTube just, I don't know what it is with them.
Knowing this is such a big case, if you could choose how your daughter's name is being kept alive right now, how would you want people online to be talking about her and your granddaughters?
Speak the truth. My daughter and my grandchildren were beautiful people. And my daughter was a very smart person, intelligent person. And she needs to be kept that way instead of being ridiculed and talked down about.
You mentioned a little bit with the prepared statement, just thanking folks that, can you speak more to that? I mean, your appreciation and gratitude.
Well, we get a lot of support from all over the world. You're talking England, Philippines, Australia. Everybody sends us cards, gifts, supporting us. Don't even know us. And it's it hits you in the heart when you see that people out there really do care and don't even know you. Just by seeing what's going on out there, they appreciate you.
And speaking to the Tri-Town area, is there anything you wanted to say since you're here? There's 3 communities up here that for the support and whatnot.
I just thank them all the time when I come out here. they're such a great neighborhood and great people out here.
How have you been dealing with the bullying? I mean, over the past couple months, short of what you're doing today, how has your family been trying to work through that?
Well, we just try to ignore it, but sometimes you just can't ignore it. It's a constant thing on your brain that they keep throwing it at you. It's sad when you get threats and everything else.
How are you planning? And I know this is, a personal question. How are you planning to mark that year? What might you guys be planning to do?
That's ours.
Okay.
Mhm.
What else? Anything else? I mean, we don't want the bullies to win. Anything else that you would like to say about your daughter or about the case?
No, my daughter is just, I just want her to be remembered how she was, a beautiful person. And just like all this to stop, not just for me, but for everybody else out there.
I mean, it sounds like today, really, you're defending her and her.
Well, yes, that's how she was. She defended herself, and I'm out here now defending her. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be like this. I shouldn't have to be out here doing this. These Facebook and people should be regulating their people instead of just letting them go. Making money off of my daughter's death is ridiculous. There's a few out there making some big money off it.
I know the attorneys aren't going to answer a question, at least on camera, but has there been any dialogue with local lawmakers to take this to the next step?
That's something that we have discussed. At this point, there's no real update in that area.
So you've had some dialogue with lawmakers, representatives, that sort of thing?
It's something that we are in the process of. I'm trying not to go too deep into it, but that is something we've considered, something that we're following up on. Yes, and more than just local, a few national as well. It is something that people are very concerned about. It is pressing, and it is something very tragic.
I was going to say with something like this too, it's probably hard because which police agency do you go to? That sort of thing. That's probably where it gets a little muddy.
Yeah. It honestly, it's been something that once again, we weren't anticipating talking too awful much as attorneys in this case, but you're correct. I mean, there is no, and I mean, we called Facebook, we called YouTube, we called Twitter. I mean, honestly, when Frank talks about the people who were there for him, there's a dedicated group of people who are just going out there and constantly, reporting, trying to get back at these people, essentially to take these things down. But they're, like Frank is saying, there's no regulatory arm of YouTube. There's no customer service line for YouTube, no customer service line for Facebook to contact. And we have really tried and racked our brain over a year to get something done. A lot of this is just getting a message out there and hoping somebody responds.
Wow.
That's what the message is for. Hopefully somebody will hear us.
Do you hope maybe that this could change law? I mean, is that also your plea
I'm
tonight?
hoping it'll change the law, but I'm hoping that these, Facebook and all these people, really look at what's going on in their thing instead of just trying to get subscribers, whatever they want to call it. It's just it's sad that they allow it to happen.
Obviously, nobody should have to go through this, but in your family, is there anyone specifically who's taking the deepest toll on this cyberbullying?
We all are.
Collective.
And Frank, I guess going over this past year, is it kind of maintained? Is it still? It's
Oh,
still
yeah,
going.
it's still going just as strong as it was in the beginning. Like I said, it's not only my family, it's other families too.
Have you talked with them personally or any of them?
Don't want to talk to them.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. I played that for a good reason. This sets it up clear and concise. 2 years ago, in June, in 2019, this man went out there and made a plea. And if you aren't a human being, if you don't have a good bone in your body, you don't listen to this man. But if you are half of a good human being, you take this message, this heartfelt message that this man took right to the doorstep of where this heinous crime took place against his daughter, his grandchildren, and his unborn grandson. And you continue to do the things that he asks you to stop doing. Shame on you. You're less than a human being in my eyes, and you're just like a bad criminal. And I spent my whole career hunting down bad criminals. Joe, you have something to add to this? You are an attorney. You want to talk a little bit? The parents are here listening. Let me know what you think about this.
Yeah, it's a very difficult issue because, the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, it is our First Amendment because it is the most important right that we have to protect. But there are limitations to your First Amendment right to speak. And that's where you get into areas of defamation, and the cyberbullying that goes on, where law enforcement can get involved and civil tort remedies are available, especially for these YouTubers and companies that are doing it. Individuals doing it, people don't normally go after individuals, but somebody who's putting out trash and constantly attacking, these victims, there's going to be recourse. So as much as I love the First Amendment and I seek to protect it, and I just want to point out, when we were colonists, and the colonies were fighting back against England, there was plenty of speaking of illy against the crown that took place, that was suppressed and punished. So we have a long history in this country of oppression of free speech. So I don't like to talk about giving that back and rolling that back, because we see in this last election and things that went on, and people are being suppressed for political views. So the right to free speech is very important. But speech like this, where you're engaging in false allegations, knowingly false allegations, malicious attacks, that's ridiculous. The companies themselves should self-regulate. You know how we always said in the police department, we did it to ourselves. When they change a new rule or something, we did it to ourselves because we didn't police ourselves. I'm telling you, these tech companies need to come together and police themselves. They need to come up with a remedy to fix this. Otherwise, the government is going to step in and they're going to fix it. So my plea today is, as someone who loves and respects the First Amendment, my plea today is for these tech companies to wake up and self-regulate. Respond to your consumers, respond to them, and address this condition. And if you don't do it, the government is going to step in. And who suffers? Because it's never just, a fine line for the good and bad. We're all going to suffer when you attack somebody's, right to speak. And it's a slippery slope, and I don't want to go down that path. I don't want the government involved. So we really need to put the pressure on these companies to self-regulate. They can do it. They can eliminate this content. They can put their rules very clearly. We will not tolerate this.
I agree 110%. More needs to be done. Look at what has gone on in the UK. In recent past, their leader brought forward heavy charges against Twitter, against all social media sites, Facebook, if they do not take action against the cyberbullying, because we're losing people to cyberbullying every day. Wow. People are taking their lives by bullying online. But this brings it to another level, because what you're talking about here is a heinous crime, and people are not even giving that consideration. You have folks that are going out in 2021 to that house where you saw Mr. Rusek standing in front of it. They're going up and videotaping and putting cameras inside the window and looking in and talking. This is where this one was at. This is where there's nowhere where you should be doing that, because it's just simply re-victimizing these families, the people who have to sit and see this stuff. Like you said, Joe, folks should be saying to themselves, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Think about you as a mother or a father, God forbid, losing your son or your daughter or your grandkids, and then having a bunch of people on Facebook, YouTube and all of these live streaming and social media platforms, making up stories that don't exist, talking about people doing this and people doing that. That is just the worst thing in my eyes. Listen, I'm a compassionate human being. I care about my fellow man and woman. Who does that? Who does that? It's just despicable on so many levels.
Ron, if I could just interject, in preparation for coming on tonight, I watched a couple of the videos, and I thank you for sending me that one. But one that I watched was the sentencing, and it was about 50-something minutes. I was riveted.
I have it
I
here.
was crying as I was watching this, the pain of losing a child. Anyone who's a parent, I'm a parent, I have 2 kids. I just can't imagine having to live with that void of what my children filled in my life, and to not have them, particularly the way that this family suffered this loss, incredible loss. But to hear them speak at the sentencing, even Chris Watts' family, and it's very unique that his parents were allowed to present a victim impact statement, because under the law, they're the grandparents of those child victims. And even his own parents, just listening to their words and their pleas, and their talking to their son about this heinous crime that he committed, that can never be explained and understood, but actually pleading with him to tell us how this happened, to encourage him to just, I know that would give me some peace. What was going through your mind? How did you come to this decision was the only option? So I would encourage everyone to really just look at that video and consider the pain and the suffering. Frank Jr. got up there. I mean, I don't know how these people had the strength to do it, to get up there and in his presence, and they were all addressing him. They were addressing Chris Watts in the sentencing.
Joe, I'd like
Normally
to
you
play
would
that.
address-
I would like to play that video right now. I have it queued up where we're just going to see that part. I want the folks listening, and I know this may be painful for the family to see this. So I would say to, Sandy and Frank Jr., if you're here, if you choose to turn it off, I understand. But I want people to see this. Exactly what you're talking about, Joe. I have it queued up, and you couldn't have said it in the most perfect time. So without further ado, I'm going to share exactly what criminal defense attorney Joe Murray is talking about here. So let me put this up on the screen and go full screen with it and give you guys exactly what he was saying here.
Exhibits 1 through 21.
Thank you. And do you have individuals who would like to make a statement?
I do. Your Honor, if I could first call upon Frank Rzucek to join me at the podium.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Rzucek.
Good morning. Well, I'd like to say to the courts that Shannon, Bella, and Nico love and caring people. They love life. They love being around people who love them. They always had good times. This is the first time they went to the beach this year, and they loved it. But God only knows what happened that night. Life will never be the same without Shannon, Bella, and Celeste and Nico. Had all their lives to live. They were taken by a heartless one. This is the heartless one, the evil monster, who dare you take the lives of my daughter Shannon, Bella, Celeste, and Nico. I trusted you to take care of them, not kill them. And they also trusted you. The heartless monster, and then you take them out like trash. You disgust me. They were loving and caring people. You may have taken their bodies from me, but you will never take the love they had for me. They loved us more than you will ever know, because you don't know what love is, because if you did, you would not have killed them. You monster, thought you would get away with this. I don't know how. The cameras do not lie. You carry them out like trash of the house. Yes, I seen the videotape. You buried my daughter Shannon and Nico in a shallow grave, and then you put Bella and Celeste in huge containers of crude oil. You heartless monster. You have to live with this vision every day of your life, and I hope you see that every time you close your eyes at night. Oh, I forgot. You have no heart or feelings or love. Let me tell you something. I will think of them every day of my life, and I love them every day of my life. Prison is too good for you. This is hard to say, but may God have mercy on your soul. I hope you enjoy your new life. It's nothing like the one you had out here. May the courts have no mercy on you. It's hard every day. It hurts in so many ways. I have heard people say that you're not a monster. No, you are not. You're an evil monster. Thank you. Love you, Shannon, Bella, and Nico. Love you, Pop Up and Dad. And one other thing. And Shannon says she is super excited for justice today. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
If you can continue to talk bad about this family after seeing that, you are a sick, evil monster. If you can continue to do the torture and things that you're continually doing, and this is going out to everybody that goes against the wishes of this family, stop talking about this case. If you continue to do it after listening to this, then you're a subhuman. You're a monster.
I might have just one over here.
Sure.
Tissue box from Your Honor, Frankie Rzucek Jr. He has asked me to read his statement for him, but he would like to stand with me if that's okay.
Of course.
Hearts in the
Sir, if I
chat
can
for
just
Frankie.
Have you state your name for the record?
Frankie Rusek Jr.
Thank you for being here.
Your Honor, the past 3 months I barely slept because I've been going through a lot of different emotions because I did not see this coming. You went from being my brother, my sister's protector, one of the most loved people in my family, to someone I will spend the rest of my life trying to understand. What gave you the right to put your hands on a woman, let alone my best friend, my beloved sister, your daughters, and your son? Why weren't they enough for you? In the blink of an eye, you took away my whole world, the people that mattered to me the most. Everything in my life I loved, your children. They trusted you. They loved you. They looked up to you because you promised to keep them safe. Instead, you turned on your family. My blood is boiling as I write these last words because they are the last you will ever hear from me. I can't even think of the right words to describe the betrayal and the hate I feel. And to be honest, you aren't even worth the time and effort it takes to put my pen to this paper. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't cry for my family. They were my whole world. All I do is ask myself why. Why would you do this? You don't deserve to be called a man. What kind of person slaughters the people that love them the most? Did you really think you would get away with this? Did you really think that this was your best option, to throw away your family like they were garbage? They deserve better, and you know it. I hope you spend the rest of your life staring at the ceiling every night, being haunted by what you've done. None of us deserved this. Hearing my mother and father cry themselves to sleep in this hotel room causes me anguish that is beyond words. I can't describe how this feels, how badly my heart is breaking for my poor parents. We trusted you. You have taken away my family from this earth, but you can never take them from my heart. You took away my privilege of being an uncle to the most precious little girls I've ever known. I will never hear the words Uncle Frankie again, but you will never be called Dad again either. You'll never be able to put your hands on another woman, let alone my best friend, my beloved sister, and your son. I just can't comprehend how they weren't enough for you. Shanann, Bella, and Cece loved you more than anyone. You were their hero. How could you destroy the people who loved them the most? I pray that you never have a moment's peace or a good night's rest in the cage you'll spend every day of your life in. A cage you are privileged to live in because my family isn't evil like you. We begged the district attorney to spare your life because despite everything, we believe that no one has the right to take the life of another, even someone like you. I feel sorry for your family. I know the pain that they must feel knowing that they can't hug you, because that's how my mother, father, and I feel every time we cry for our family. Nothing hurts more than watching or hearing my family weep for their loved ones. I just wish that I could tell that you would tell the truth, but I know that that is asking for more than you are capable of. I stayed up all night writing this statement. I don't sleep because of you. My life will never be the same because of you, but at least my conscience is clear. I get to live free, but I can't say the same for you. I haven't slept in 2 days because I've been anxiously waiting for this moment, the moment I get to tell you how I feel, how this has affected my family and I. My family and I can finally grieve after today. If anything, we will come out of this stronger today than we were before, and we will continue to pray for your family. Sincerely, Frankie Rzucek.
Thank you, Mr. Rusek.
Well said, Frankie. Well said.
Your Honor, Sandy Rusek would like to address the court.
Of course. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Thank you
Of
for
course.
this moment.
If I can just have you just identify yourself for the record.
My name is Sandra Rzucek, Shannon's mother.
Thank you.
I wanted to say thank you for this moment. I want to take a moment to thank everyone who has prayed for our beloved family, who has sent gifts, cards to us from all over the world. I know God will put the evil people where they need to be. I also want to take the time to thank the town of Frederick, Greeley, FBI, the DA's office, the CBI for exceptional work. We thank Nicole Atkinson, Shannon's neighbor, Nathan, and his family. To me, they're our heroes. They really are. God bless. God makes no mistakes on who he puts in your life. Marriage is about love, trust, and friendship and unity. We marry for sickness and health, to death do us part. Our daughter Shannon loved you with all of her heart. Your children loved you to the moon and back. Shannon's family was her world. Shannon put a crown on your head. But unfortunately, the day that you took their life, God removed that crown. We loved you like a son. We trusted you. Your faithful wife trusted you. Your children adored you, and they also trusted you. Your daughter Bella Marie sang a song proudly. And I don't know if you got to see it, but it was, "Daddy, you're my hero." I have no idea who gave you the right to take their lives. But I know God and his mighty angels were there at that moment to bring them home to paradise. God gives us free will. So not only did you take the family of four, your family of four, you took your own life. I want the world to know that our daughter and her children were so loved by us. There will always be protected by God and his mighty angels. I didn't want death for you because that's not my right. Your life is between you and God now, and I pray that he has mercy for you. From Shannon's mother, Bella Marie, Celeste Catherine, and Nico Lee's Nana. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'm going to take that scumbag off the screen. Very powerful, Joe. A very powerful statement by the entire family. That's almost 3 years ago, and in a couple of short weeks.
Ron, do you realize, though, that the strength this family had and their Christian values, that they actually went to the prosecutor to request that he not be given a capital sentence?
The prosecutor flew to their home in North Carolina. He got on a plane. How many prosecutors have you heard? You ran for the district attorney in Queens County. How many prosecutors get on an airplane and fly across the country to a victim's family's home and tells them you have the option?
And this would have been an easy case if you heard when the judge rendered the sentence, he, without hesitation, that this warranted the most severe penalty. I mean, he just said, that's it. And he gave him life and, the maximum sentence allowable under the law.
Exactly.
He made it clear Chris Watts would be on death row were it not for this family. And this is the thanks they get. This is how people treat them. This loving family who in their worst time of pain and suffering were able to be merciful and allow him not to have a death sentence. It's incredible when I hear about the attacks. And I want this family to know they have a friend in Joe Murray. And I have, as we all do, DutyRon, our retired law enforcement friends that do this kind of work, that these anonymous people who are attacking you, there are ways to determine who they are. And we have the resources. And then once we determine who they are, we'll pay them a visit. And I hope it ends there. But this is disgusting. And I have no problem applying the full resources of my office and my network of people to defend victims like this family. It's disgusting. It should stop. And we as a community need to speak up and call out stuff like this and help them. That's what community does.
Joe, I couldn't have said it any better. The people who are doing this to them time and time again, no matter how many pleas these folks make, these are despicable people. And I couldn't be quiet about this. This has been building with me for months and months and months. After Frank Sr. went out to Colorado on June, I don't remember, I think it was June 19th off the top of my head, 2019, I went live after I saw it uploaded to the news, and I made a plea, and that plea wasn't friendly. It was curse laden. I was pissed, and nothing changed. So again, like you said, there are legal recourses, and they are exploring that avenue. Cease and desists, gag orders, and all different kinds of things that are going to be coming down the pike. There's so much to talk about, which I won't get in this live stream because I want to pinpoint it to the nasty behaviors and the nasty things that people are doing to a family that has gone through this. How can you do that? How could you call yourself a decent human being and do that? It's just despicable. And it's got to stop. Something's got to happen. Joe, talk about some of the cyberbullying laws here in the United States and some of the things that needs to be in place without going into great detail, but just let the audience, there's so many supporting folks here for the Rusek family. People want to know what you can and can't do from a defense attorney side.
Well, let me just say before we get into that, I wanted to just I know we had this conversation. Barring none, the most painful thing I ever had to do as a police officer was to make a death notification, to tell someone that their loved one, who they just saw earlier that day, is now dead. They passed away and they'll never see him again alive. Just to watch the life drain out of the face of the person who aged right in front of me. I will never forget the first time that I had to do that. And thankfully, it was just the last time that I had to do it. I was, of course, with other people at other circumstances, but I was so blown away by that. And we had to do it. it was a death that was in New Jersey, and they couldn't get out there, so they contacted us to meet with the family and talk to them about it. It was the most painful thing I ever had to experience. Now, when you think about the victims themselves, this family, what they went through, learning what happened to their loved ones.
Right.
I just can't imagine how somebody, especially watching that sentencing, even hearing from his parents and what they said to him, how could you attack this family? How can you attack somebody, a victim?
Yeah.
For what end? They showed mercy to this guy. Did he deserve it? No, he didn't deserve it.
Right.
But they showed mercy to him. And now he sits for the rest of his natural life in a prison, but he's alive. It's just shocking to me how people can react and so callously. And again, I'm going to say it again, these tech companies, they have to police themselves. The cyberbullying laws have not yet caught up with technology. The laws are weak and they need to be strengthened. But I'd rather, because I despise the government, just like our revolutionaries that founded this country hated the strong central government and tried to protect us from an overpowerful, overbearing central government. I hate that. But at certain points, it becomes necessary for the mighty government to step in our lives and restrain and restrict some of our freedoms. Unless we police ourselves, the government will be here to do it. And we may not like the way they're going to do it.
Yeah.
So we all have to come together on this, and we have to try to apply the pressure necessary to get the proper remedy that we seek.
You know, Joe, there's so much work that needs to be done in this case of what's going on to this family. But there are countless other families that go through this as well. They're not the only ones. You heard Frank Sr. talk out in front of his daughter's home in Colorado. He's speaking for all the victims. That's just the kind of family this is. They're God-loving, they're forgiveful, and they're thinking of other people. And in my mind, I think, how can they even function day to day? But they're doing it, and they're barely doing it. They're struggling. You know, I wouldn't wish this again on my worst enemy, on a terrorist. I wouldn't wish this on. But these folks are being re-victimized on a daily basis. How?
That's why I call upon this. I don't know anyone who can really justify it or condone it. And I love to see the comments in the chat, how people are so sympathetic and compassionate.
Right.
I like to believe that that's who we are as a people. But when you see this horrendous stuff going on and taking place, I think more than just conveying your support in a chat, we all need to take that 5-10 minutes, write the letter, send the email, put pressure on these companies, put pressure on them, and also our legislators. As much as I hate it, I hate having the government giving them more power over my life and my freedom. Times like this, you know, like when 9/11 hit us, we wanted to, because of the suffering and the attack that we endured, we were willing to forego some of our freedoms. And there were checkpoints everywhere. There were, you know, new laws that allowed further searching, and Patriot Act was enforced, and you know, it was enhanced. We do that because in extreme circumstances, we're willing to forego some of our freedoms and our rights so that we're protected. We don't want it, but it becomes necessary at a certain point. And I think we're approaching that here.
Yeah.
If people are not going to self-regulate and we're going to suffer unnecessary harm from it, like these victims are and others, then we're going to have to surrender some more freedoms to allow those victims to be protected. And I would, at this point, because I can't stand what I see. We became cops because we love to help people. I love my practice because I help people. I help people, and the ones I help and I love helping the most are the people that are the most hopeless. And they've gone to other resources and they can't get any remedy and they can't get anyone even to take their case.
Right.
Those are the ones that I love. I love to fight bullies. I love to help people who are oppressed, abused. That's why I'm a criminal defense attorney. Primarily, I do all the civil work, but primarily, when you have the government coming down on you, you need someone to defend your rights. You may be guilty as hell, but the process must be defended.
Yeah.
And that's why I have no problem doing that, because even now there's going to be a very big demonstration in Manhattan for those capital offenders. And
Right.
someone reached out to me and I was not aware of the horrible treatment they're suffering. They're incarcerated. They don't even put organized crime murderers in circumstances that they're in.
Right.
The unequal treatment and the coercive power of the government, when it comes down on you, particularly the federal government, it's no joke.
Yeah.
And that's why I am so resistant to asking for more government control. And my plea here is to have self-control. Let us try to remedy this. Let us go to these companies. Let's put pressure on them to self-regulate.
I can't agree with you more. YouTube and all of these social media companies, Facebook, they're all making gazillions of dollars. Why can't they have a customer service number where someone picks up the phone? You heard the news reporter ask Frank, have you reached out to these companies? And what was the response you got? His answer was nothing.
Nothing.
So what gives these bigger companies the right to let a platform that they put out there? Now, granted, it's a free platform, but they have a platform out there where people can just run amok. You got guys in the chat like Ryan Investigates. Okay, I know Billy Ryan, first grade detective. There he is right there. Ryan Investigative Group. He is a guy who would, hands down, if I said to him, Billy, I need you to help me here, you know what he'd say to me? Ron, what do you need?
Yeah.
So this is a great guy. I have his website linked in my website, Ryan Investigative Group. I got Joe Murray, criminal defense attorney, linked down into my comment section and into my website as well. So if anybody needs the services, they're always there. And like Joe said, he always is willing to lend a helping hand and speak to someone who needs advice. If Joe can't help you, he knows somebody that can. And that's the beautiful part about this connection, this NYPD connection that we have, and the brotherhood. And that's why when I went to Joe about 2 weeks ago and told him about this, he said, you name the day, you name the time. And he was here for me tonight, and he's here for the Rusek family. So thank you, Joe, for speaking out and getting on here with me. But again, the plea here is for humanity, for people to be human. And I know that we can't change the world. We knew this as cops. When we became New York City police officers, one of the first things we were told in the police academy is you're not gonna make, you're not gonna change the world, but you got to go out there and you got to do the best you can. And day in and day out, the family here does the best that they can. They're again a praying family, a family that loves God, and that is wonderful. I've had many conversations by text message and voice messages with the family, and they've been nothing but welcoming to me, like I was part of their family. So I want to just jump on without further ado quickly. I have Frank Sr. joining us here tonight. Frank, welcome in to the live stream. Thank you so much for coming. here tonight, Frank.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Just like to thank you guys for doing this for us. We appreciate it very much.
Mr. R, I would, again, I would do this. I told your wife I would do this any time that we need to sit and speak about this. But, enough's enough. This has gone on too long. I played your video. I know you've been watching from 2 years ago. We're talking about 3 years coming up this August 13th. These people need to just get on with their lives, as you said, Frank, and you said it so well.
Yeah, it's a shame that we are going through this. And like I said, it's not only us; it's other families that are doing it too. Yeah. And YouTube and all these places allow this to happen. It's sad.
It's despicable. Joe, you got anything to say, Mr. Rusek?
Yeah, please. Like I said, I would love for you to contact me and we could talk more about this and what, steps we can take at least to the worst offenders. But I just doing this work with DutyRon, it's really just opened my eyes to a lot more of what's happening out there and meeting the people who are involved in these cases. It's just incredible. So anything I can do, please, I really would love for you to reach out to me so we could talk more about this. But I'm here for you and I'm happy to help.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get up with Ron about this and we'll get talking.
And Frank, I want to say quickly, because we've already spoke on the phone, but before you joined here tonight, my condolences to you and your family. Again, I'm kind of hopped up right now, so please forgive me for not being respectful in that way. I just was thrilled that you joined, and I wanted to say my sincere, deepest condolences to you and your family.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, we appreciate everything, and everybody gets hyped up about everything. So
I'd like to say thank you too, real quick. I'm sorry I'm jumping in.
Frankie.
I want to say thank you guys. I appreciate all the kind things you said, and it sure is nice to get some help. And I've been working hard trying to get, not like you said, get the not a law, but maybe hold these people accountable. Hold the platforms accountable. If not the platform, then the people. You know what I mean? They got to have something in place for this. Like you said, it's it's only getting. The technology is only getting more different, you know what I mean? So they got to keep up with it. I love my First Amendment. I love my free speech, but there's a huge fine line between the two.
And Ron and Joe, thank you so much. We appreciate it. And God bless you both for doing this for our family and for many other families. And Joe, we will be getting up with you and we'll get you up to par what we're up to.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
You all.
And Sandy, Frank, and Frankie Jr. My community here, you have the complete love and support from the folks here at the DutyRon, Crime Time with DutyRon. I do not allow any toxic behavior. So if anybody is toxic, they're immediately eliminated. So a lot of love coming from this community to you guys, and how this goes. There's good and bad in everything, and we're no strangers to that. As retired police officers, we've seen evil. We put people behind bars. I've personally put my handcuffs on people who have taken other people's lives. Most of these trolls and most of these people that are out here continuing to talk about your family have never done that. They're keyboard warriors who are cowards. So at the end of the day, I would, like Joe said, we would go after them with vigor, or give the right direction on how to go after them with vigor. And we're on board 100% with helping you guys out.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
we really appreciate that.
Yeah, we've been reading the chat, so we thank everybody for the chat.
Well, Joe, we sent Ron some information, and we've got 3 years worth. So we'll get together over a glass of wine or a beer or something and come see you in New York.
Give us an excuse to go to New York, huh?
How about some of that good home cooked food that you make over there,
Mike,
Sandy?
your wife's Italian, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah, me and Joe will jump on Amtrak and come on down there.
My door is always open to you.
Oh, the Amtrak's right down the street from us, actually. I took it to Florida once. It's really cool.
I love it. Yeah. Yep. So we could do that easy. We could just jump right on it down there in Penn Station, Joe, and we could.
Let's do it.
Be down
I'll get you some golf passes.
I'll go to the golf course and eat and drink, but I won't play golf.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we just wanted to jump up here and say thank you very much. I mean, I don't want to, you guys can keep talking, but I just wanted to jump up here and say thank you very much to you guys. We appreciate everything you guys are doing for us.
Mr. and Mrs. R and Frankie Jr., much love and respect as always from all of us here in the community. So,
And I want to thank the chat for all the hearts and the love. We appreciate that. It really, really means a lot. And when Frank's speech went up and Frankie's, all the hearts, it teared us up. It teared us up. And thank you. God bless you all. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Even my enemies. God bless you.
Mm.
I'll come see you soon.
Wow. God bless, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you guys.
We'll talk
Be
soon.
well. We'll talk.
Okay.
Wow. Amazing. What a great family.
People.
I mean, here's a testament to that, willing to come on, willing to talk, strength, strength and bravery, and, not willing to let their daughters' names, the grandchildren, their unborn grandson, not letting their names be slung through the mud. And that's essentially what some of these creators are doing. And it's sick. It's sad. Guys in the United Kingdom lighting up live streams every second that they can. And it's just so uncalled for and so inhumane. So at the end of the day, I feel that, and some people hate that I say at the end of the day, but that's my freaking favorite thing to say. At the end of the day, God's going to judge you. At the end of it all, we all get judged. And I think that, the people who are doing this stuff are going to meet their maker one day. So again, I want to just acknowledge some of the folks in the chat. There's around 450 people hanging out with us. Let me just quickly say hello to everyone and thank you. Thank you. I got to go full screen for this for a minute, Joe. I want to say thank you to everybody who has positively interacted here. And I want to ask you to please all put in the chat where you're from and hearts, the city or state where you're from, and hearts for the Rzucek family. Please do that, and let's show them a little bit more of love on this live stream before we wrap it up. Your city, state, and some love in the chat for these folks. And I appreciate everybody doing that. And I'll start calling out some of the folks who are chiming in. I see Los Angeles, California, Wisconsin. Thank you. Oregon. Hello from North Carolina. Wisconsin. 12-step woman from Toledo. Thank you. Thank you from Danville, California. The chat's going really fast. Lancaster, California. Thank you, JR, for the super chat. Wow. That's a lot of love. Brooklyn, New York. Joey Brooklyn. Australia. Put another prawn on the Barbie. Let's see what else we got. Joe, do you see what's happening here? I see you looking down. Council, you were looking down. Florida, good to see you. Thank you. Yorkshire, the UK. Thank you. Liverpool, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the hearts. Florida, Pueblo, Minnesota. This is a fantastic group of people. Canada, Yosemites, the Pranzos from out in Suffolk County. Thank you, retired Lieutenant Pete Pranzo. Ryan Investigative Group up in the Bronx, New York, the Boogie Down Bronx, I like to call it. Hello from Australia. Thank you. Warwick, Rhode Island. Amazing. Pittsburgh. We got people from all over the country, all over the world. Thank you. Thank you for this, guys. Really, this is just a wonderful outpouring of love here. Just unbelievable. Hello, Mooresville. Good to see you, Mooresville. Beautiful place. Thank you. Thank you. New Jersey. Excellent. All right. I think
If I could just add one more thing, and I just want to make this last plea to everyone. I love how there's 500 people here. They had the time to sit here and watch this show. They're making comments. Don't let it end there. Write out a quick little email, send it to all these providers. Tell them how you feel. They need to self-regulate. They need to take steps to address our concerns. The community is asking. We want some intervention. If you all could just take 5 minutes and send that email, send that message, write a letter. You are very gracious and compassionate. I see all the the chat and the comments and the hearts. Take that next step and let them hear from you. That will be powerful. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. And you know what? I'm going to close this up quickly by saying the people who are here, the folks who are here, I know you are good people. For the replay viewers and some of the folks who are on the fence that are just teetering on decency, take that next step and be that decent person and stop doing what you're doing. Think about what was presented here in this live stream. And I don't think that I could have done it any other way. This was clear and concise. You have victims and you have the family who are also victims. They are on here making a plea from 3 years ago to please let their daughter and their grandchildren rest in peace. Stop speaking about them and stop doing the things that are making them uncomfortable. Think about it if the shoe was on the other foot and your grandchildren, your daughter, were murdered by a loved one. Don't forget, they loved Chris. They said it, and in court. This is very, very hurtful. All right, guys. So I want to wish everybody a lot of love and respect. Tomorrow night, I will be live with the EquiSearch leader down in Tennessee live from his hotel room. He's going to give us a live update, not on the places he searched for Summer Wells, but on the conditions that they faced and what is next. We will not be giving up any information. The integrity of this investigation is very paramount, and it is near and dear to my heart. So David Rader will be on with me tomorrow night, and we will be getting an update from him on the day's events. Tomorrow they'll be down in Tennessee, in Hawkins County, in Rogersville. We don't know where they'll be, but they're going to be out there searching. So please do not disturb the searchers. Do not take pictures. Do not report on it. So much love and respect to the Rusek family. Again, everybody, please have some compassion for these people and stop your nonsense. Try to be a good human being. And God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. And God bless each and every one of us here in the chat. And all victims of crime and their families across the globe. Not just here in the United States, across the globe. And thank you to all the new subscribers and all the folks who positively interact. Let's have a conversation after this live stream down in the comments section. Love and respect from DutyRon. Thank you and good night from New York. Thank you, Joe.
Good night. Thank you.